Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Homefront Harmony. I am your host, Stevie Dahl. We are the podcast for military families, whether you're looking for guidance, financial, mental health, etc. We talk about it all. Now, I've mentioned several times before that my father had a gymnastics scholarship to college, and halfway through his freshman year, he realized the call to serve his country was stronger than the call to be a Olympic gymnast. And that's what led him into 21 years of service. And what I love today is we're going to have yet another unique story of someone's path and what brought them to this point. So allow me to introduce to you today our guest, Mr. Jonathan Gomez. How are you, my friend?
I'm all right. A little bit better than blessed.
I love it. I love it. So first of all, irony, people, you have evolved a career in the media world, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now what is it that you do in the media world?
I would say that I help a lot of coaches, consultants, business owners of all sorts, primarily within the business realm, curate content, whether it be for like ads, courses, creative media events. I've done a lot over the past decade.
Okay. And what got you into doing that?
My brother, he was a business savant. Like that guy was just incredible. And he was a great marketer.
Okay.
Worked with a lot of brilliant people within the business realm.
Okay.
And if you're ever familiar with the circles between Alex Hormozy, Russell Brunson, a lot of those coaches, consultants in that realm. He helped a lot of people build, scale, and launch their programs and kind of help be the infrastructure to build the infrastructure to their businesses. And so for modern day marketing, he was definitely the guy. I would arguably say.
Outstanding. And you've been doing this 10 years?
Yeah, because originally the goal wasn't to go necessarily pick up a camera, but I was kind of running out of options at a very young age. Or not, I wasn't running out of options. I would say that I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So I was going to school randomly, not knowing what I was going to do.
Okay.
And then I started picking up a camera, started doing some fun stuff with it. And my brother was like, hey, we're starting to do a lot of creative media. This is back in 2015, mind you. And creative media was kind of a good way to stand out.
Uh-huh.
And from that point, he was like, well, we have these events. He's like, what if I could pay you to do this? And I was like, people pay for this stuff? And so because it's not really it's not nowhere where it is now.
Right.
Somebody like me or a lot of the creative kind of directors or social media people that you would hire, they can get paid pretty well. I know a lot of people that make a lucrative career in media, but it's that was never the goal. I kind of fumbled my way into it. And then once I understood the power of it, I was it went from my brother to one of his colleagues, which was a really big pay per click marketer out in SoCal.
Okay.
And then he ended up hiring me, and then I was like, well, shoot, I don't need to go to school and I don't need this other job that I'm working at, so I might as well just do this.
Okay.
And then that's how that ended up happening.
Now, we talk a lot on this show about how sometimes we start on one path,
yeah,
and then we realize, well, that's not the path I want to be on, and we find another path.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been doing media for a while, but your true calling in your heart is?
I would say in terms of the military. Yeah. So
he's changing careers, my friends.
I'm changing careers. That was the crazy part. So I always knew at some point that my life would eventually evolve into the military. I'm not exactly sure why or how. I just knew because my mom was also a vet too. She was 15 years.
Okay.
She was at first at 88 Mike, which is vehicle transportation, I believe. And then she eventually changed her MOS to chaplain's assistant, I think. And my mom was this bodybuilder. She was arguably my hero. Me and mom were really close. And I knew that at some point it would be a cool idea if I got to carry on that lineage of going to the Army, because she was in the Army. And I was like, that would be incredible.
Okay.
But I didn't know how, because at this point, I'm married. I'm a couple of years in marriage, and I'm losing a sense of purpose into my media venture, just because it's not the fact that I don't like it. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that I lost a sense of why I'm doing this.
Okay.
And to another degree, I knew that I would find a little bit more purpose in the military, because there was a slew of different reasons.
Okay.
And if we have time, maybe I can read them off. But the fact of the matter is that I just knew that there was something waiting for me. Like, and I just couldn't pin it. But then now there's another problem where I have a wife who I now have to communicate that to because I'm not a cowboy. Like, I can't just do whatever I want. And so I'm like, all right, how do I describe to my wife who we have a life together and we're trying to build something, and now I'm going to garbage pay, because going to the military for pay would be the most ironic thing in the world. And, obviously there's a slew of other benefits, but then now I'm going to be leaving her.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also going to be doing dangerous shit.
Mm-hmm.
So like the odds are like completely stacked against me. But luckily my wife is like arguably the most like supportive woman in the world. I just can't even shout out to the wife.
Shout out to spouses. Spouses are amazing.
Yeah, they're not kidding that the spousal support makes a big difference. And so what ended up happening is that my wife was having like one of her coaching calls or whatever, and she was busy and I was out running errands, and I had taken a detour to a recruiting office off Decatur, one of the best. If I think that they're the only recruiting office off Decatur, one of the best recruiting offices ever. Like, the people there are incredible. I had taken a detour and my heart was thumping. I'm like, oh God, like I'm actually here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't like, this is, once I go through these doors, like I think I might solidify my fate. And so I go there and I meet the recruiter. He's like, did you have an appointment? I'm like, no. He's like, well, let's take a seat. Let's try to figure out what you're trying to do. And we talked for probably about an hour and a half.
Okay.
And I told him like what my ambitions are, and told him that I wanted to go the special operations route, and how I wanted to, I just need to know what that would look like. And so after an hour and a half, he gave me a lot of clarity. He says, do me a favor. He's like, I know you're married, but just do me this one favor. Next time you come in here, bring your wife, because I would really want to be able to console her in any kind of questions she might have. And typically it works a lot well when she has a lot more clarity in knowing what this venture entails. So we do that. It probably took me about a month or two to confess to her that like I went to a recruiting office. I didn't tell her right away. Like I told her, like I was
Hims was scared of it. Big old strong army man, but like, baby, I'm sorry.
I'm like cowering. I'm like, I got to tell you something. No, it was like the most nerve-wracking thing. So the only person I texted at that point was my mom. I texted her a picture of the office, and I said, I think I might be doing this. And my mom was a little bit more, she was encouraging, but she's like, are you sure?
Right.
And I was like, nope. And after I confessed to the wife, and after I kind of told her this is what I was planning on doing, she was incredibly understanding. And she's like, I know that you've been kind of having a change of heart, and I know that there's been things that are kind of weighing on you, and it's pretty evident. She's my wife; she could tell. And I just can't forget the amount of encouragement and support, because I had brought it up softly, like probably about a year ago. And so the decision that I made today was probably about a conversation we've had over the past like year, give or take, like spottily, of like, hey, what would it look like if we did this? Like, what would happen? And eventually when I pulled the trigger, I'm like, I think I might be doing this. She came with me to the recruiting office, and we ended up getting the ball rolling there. She asked all the questions that she could. He answered all the questions, the recruiter did, and we got all the clarity we needed. And at that point, that was that.
Okay. All right. So you've got to circle back for a few things there.
Yeah,
Whenever
for sure.
you use an acronym on the show, you are required to let everyone know what the acronym is. You said your mother's MOS.
Yeah. I believe that's a what was that? Military occupation specialist? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
This is always fun to do. Ding, ding, ding,
Oh, was that a
ding.
test?
We get a little win. Well, it's funny how many people use acronyms and don't realize. Like the joke is always, my husband's in real estate. I'm in security. I have acronyms that he uses, and they all mean different things, but they're the same acronym. So it's always got to clarify on that.
That's awesome.
Mom's name?
Melissa.
Melissa, thank you for your service. We greatly appreciate you.
Boom.
Wife's name?
Molly.
Molly, you're going to be a kick-ass military spouse. Damn proud of you, love. I want to talk about, I love this recruiter.
Yeah.
Okay, because I think that a lot of people don't understand the discussion goes into it. Now, we are in a time right now where there is conflict.
Yeah.
I have 2 friends where their sons are going into service. I've known these guys for years. I couldn't be more proud of them. Dawkin, Trevor, very, very proud of both of you. Hang in there. And ironically, my friend's son, Trevor, wanted to be a Marine.
Oh, wow.
And he went into the office, the recruiting office, and he took some tests. And the Navy guy came to him and said,
Poached him?
we need to talk because your ranking and your scores, you need to be on a nuclear sub.
Oh, wow.
And this kid is going to be amazing and have an amazing career because the recruiter took the time to identify and have that conversation and see. Because sometimes we think we want to go down one certain path.
Yeah, totally.
And not
That's a good
everybody
point.
researches.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody looks into, not everybody does. And then someone says, hey, just a quick question. What if this?
Yeah, can I actually add on that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what had ended up happening, so obviously off camera, you and I were talking about the route that I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And so instantly, like, so Army was a non-negotiable. I knew for sure I was going to go Army, obviously because of my mom. But then two was I always had a certain fixation with the Ranger Regiment. I just thought that they were so cool. Like I just, from a vanity metric standpoint, like they had the coolest social media. I think like just their culture is kind of cool. Some people might differ. That's totally fine. But and my views might be slightly immature, and that's totally fine because I don't know what I don't know. But I like what they stand for, and they're called the nation's hammer for a reason, and like that's such a cool title to have. And typically, whenever you have like smaller detachments, whether it be like Delta or SEALs or any kind of smaller unit that does a lot of these operations, typically it's not uncommon for the Rangers to be like the supporting factor behind them. So they'll be on standby waiting to like do airfield seizures or any kind of light infantry of some sort. Like they're cool, right? In my opinion. And so I told my recruiter, like, this is what I wanted to do. And at the time originally, when I was going into the recruiting office, he told me that he could offer me a contract. That was like months ago. That was probably back in October, November.
Okay.
And then, but I didn't sign anything. I didn't commit to anything.
Okay.
And by the time I brought the wife around, told him that the path still stayed the same. He said, unfortunately, we're just no longer offering those kind of contracts. I said, my heart sank for a little bit. I was like, oh, shoot. But I don't think, and this could just be me in my experience, the cool thing about having a recruiter is being able to give you this like a straight and honest answer. He says, look, he says, whether it was an option 40, which is a Ranger Regiment contract, or whether it was an 18X, which would have been Special Forces Green Berets. He says, I would tell you, he's like, you could fight for that. And, you know, I know everybody's going to be down your throat. Like, don't sign anything until you get it in your contract. Right. And he's like, you could do that. And that could be the hill that you want to die on, I guess. But he's like, I'll be honest with you. He says, in my honest and genuine opinion, it would be far more beneficial for you to go infantry, because whether it be 11B or 11C infantrymen, and go down that route, get used to being part of a unit, understand what the lay of the land is, get used to being part of like getting the education and everything that you possibly can.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that when these guys fight so hard to get into these like contracts, like it's so hard, whether it's RASP, which is the Ranger Assessment Selection Program, or whether it's Q course, the qualification course for Green Berets. He's like, people get washed out all the time.
Yeah.
And if you get washed out, you go right back to whatever it is that they send you to. And so he's like, unless you're in a rush, he's like, I wouldn't die on that hill. He says, get used to being part of a squad, a battalion, or, you know, he used the language. I'm still kind of getting used to it, but I thought that was really cool because here I am saying, hey, this is what I want. Right. And everybody around me is telling me, don't sign anything until you get what you want. But I'm like, now that I'm thinking about it, I says, what if I don't know what I want?
Right.
Because it's a huge organization. You can be anything.
Yep.
And when you're presented a list of MOSs originally, it's kind of like going to college. You're like, I don't know what I don't know. Like, I don't know what I want to be. Do I want to be a comm specialist? Do I want to be a combat medic? Like, it's just so much. So during this process, I was actually really humbled because I thought I knew what I wanted to do. Not to say that the recruiter is like convincing me or coercing me just because he needs to hit numbers. Like, that's not what happened here.
No.
I did an extensive amount of research as to what my options were. And luckily, through listening to podcasts and getting some decent education and actually talking to a retired Ranger and actually a current Special Forces guy in 7th Group, he was, which is South America, that's their territory. I got a very extensive education on like what these guys do, how it works. So once I did a lot of that, I felt a lot more comfortable with this decision because I didn't at any point feel like he was trying to screw me over. It was just more so of saying, you could go down this route and it might expedite your path. But he's like, unless you're in a rush, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Just do things this way. Yeah. And I know it because I've seen people do it.
Yeah.
And then at some point, some special force recruiter, you could either go to them or they might end up finding you, but it's not impossible. He's like, and getting it on your contract really doesn't mean much.
No, and I think that's a great point. I actually am friends with a lot of recruiters on Facebook, naturally with the podcast and everything. Nice. I end up connecting with them on my personal page.
Okay.
And what I love is there is a difference between a really good recruiter and just a recruiter,
I would say.
And it's like anything else in life. You're going to get people who are very good at what they do. And just from their posts and how they encourage those that they helped in their position and everything, you can see those that are like, wow, you should always be doing this. You are the reason this position was set up. And I think that happens in a lot of fields in life. There are a lot of different avenues that people go down and do that are amazed. My grandmother battled dementia. And at one point, she would think she was feeding herself and the food wasn't on the fork. And we were at the house she was staying in, and the nurse who was working with her sitting behind her and just very, just like stealth, slid the spoon up with the food. My grandmother didn't even see her. My grandmother thought she was still taking care of herself, made her feel good. And I was like, holy cow, you should definitely, you're in the perfect job. You're amazing at what you do. And I feel like that's key with recruiter too, because you're right. A lot of people have a dream and they go into the office and they don't really have the whole path carved out.
Yeah.
And nowadays, gosh, we live in such an information world.
Yeah.
I mean, holy cow. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a female blue angel because the blue angels flew above me once. And I was like, that is so cool. I want to do that. Okay?
For sure.
Like,
yeah.
There was
cool.
no way to research. Now you can actually see, like you've connected down the path you want to go. And you've been able to research and see and find legitimate, real info, you know?
Yeah.
So what is like your guilty pleasure, you're following your source of information that you are getting the most that for you in this path you're taking? Are you going on like Instagram?
Oh, no, that's actually a really good question. I'm doing all of it, mind you. Like, so we can all agree that Sean Ryan probably has like the biggest market share when it comes to just information, right? Because the amount of people that he has like is like from MARSOC dudes to, I don't know if he's had parajumpers, which I didn't even know the Air Force had their own special force unit. That was pretty intense. And then, he's had Rangers, Green Berets, SEALs. So, but again, what's cool is that I'm not solely just trying to look for the path that I'm going down. I want to know what everyone's route has been. Because how do I say this without sounding like an asshole?
You can sound like an asshole. It's okay. It's our show. Robert, he's allowed to sound like an asshole. It's good. The director said thumbs up. You're good.
We're good. Cleared.
We're not as slick as the military here. We just do it. Do it.
No, so what I was going to say is that I'm a really big proponent on personal responsibility. And one of the most disheartening things that I think I've seen throughout this route, and I've even talked to my recruiter. Me and my recruiter have had extensive, phenomenal conversations.
Yeah.
Because I am a social butterfly and I ask a lot of questions.
Good.
And so he's like, he told me this. He says, you got to be like one of the few people that have actually asked as many questions as you had throughout this process. I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I've just never had
Here's
anybody.
Another question. Why?
well, like it's funny because I'm like, I'm literally about to sign my life away to the government. Like a tramp stamp just says owned by the USA, right? And
oh my gosh, we're getting him a tramp stamp.
and I found a perfect meme that I ended up sending to my family chat. It was the funniest thing in the world. But I'm like, I'm getting ready to actually do this. And I'm like, you don't have people slightly asking you like what like the life would be, what the MOS is typically entailed, like everything. And I'm just like, I'm grilling this guy with everything. Like I'm telling you, hey, I learned this from Sean Ryan's podcast. Like, how true is this? And he'll tell me, like he'll debunk myths and whatever for my sake. And I'm like, that's really cool because he's a very knowledgeable recruiter. So, but all that to say is that I like to know what people's experiences are. So when I hear these people saying like, oh, I got screwed out of my contract, I go throughout the entire process, right? I'm going through recruiter, then I go through MEPS, and then I go through the signing of the contract. And like, it's a pretty comprehensive like process, but I feel like it would be really hard to screw up. So like when people say that like I talked to my recruiter, I told him that this is what I wanted, and like they didn't give it to me. I'm like, I don't know how that's like possible. Like it's actually pretty hard to like, you have to sign off on like what they give you. You know what I mean?
So Stevie gets to dance some knowledge down onto her friend. Okay, first of all, one of the advantages you had is the fact that your mother served.
Yeah.
You have an insight into the military that a lot of people who go into military service have no idea about.
True. Yeah.
2, you're in media.
Yeah.
Contracts are your world.
Yeah,
so when I did acting, I scoured contracts because there was never going to be nudity.
Yeah.
Okay?
For sure.
The doctor really doesn't get to see me naked. It's pretty much my mother, my husband. That's it. So I had real strict reviews of that. A lot of people going into the military, especially when they're younger, they just thought, hey, this is an opportunity to wait a step. So they don't necessarily investigate the way you would investigate naturally to it. Now, that doesn't mean that all of them have a thing. I will just say that is a good chunk of people you run into. There is an advantage you have. Now, what I do highly recommend and why I like that we're discussing this and how you did your research, research, people. Please research. Sure. Please. When my father went in, he knew he wanted to serve his country. He knew he wanted to see the world, and he thought it'd be pretty cool to do it by sailing.
Yeah.
Now, he ended up in supply. Okay. His team holds a record in Australia for the fastest unload of a ship, and it was done in like 1980, and nobody's been able to match it.
Wow.
And they used to call him Spider-Man because, remember, I said he was a gymnast, so he would terrify people.
Yeah.
Because the big, the big boxes you see on the ships, the crates and everything, they would be having a crane movement. My dad swinging from one to the other, moving around. They thought he's going to get crushed. But it's because, he researched, he studied, he did his thing on it. And I think that what is cool is the more opportunity we get for people to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I do. This is where my job. Intake was a great guest to have on. We had our trash hauler as he is. He told us they're the ones who dropped the Army guys out of the plane.
Yeah.
For us, he was just on our episode. So, I mean, we've had a lot of opportunity to have, that kind of discussion.
Yeah.
But now you're taking a different perspective.
Yeah.
You had an established career. You had an established life.
Yeah.
But your passion, your purpose, your heart wanted to go another way. And so you researched it, you've delved into it, you've really looked into it in a way that I love because it's a perspective we haven't had before.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's pretty interesting too, just because so throughout I would say this is that I think that how do I say this? So after I had started my career originally with my brother, being exposed to like a certain world, I think, especially within like the coaching space and like the entrepreneurial space, I think even as well known as it is, I feel like when you're in it, it's kind of like its own little bubble.
Oh yeah.
And like everybody's like, you can create like your own business and like you can create the life you want. It's a life by design. And like, I think it's great, like for what people want. But then there was a different side of me that was a little bit more rough and tumble. Cause like I was that kid and like, I knew that I had ambitions to go to the military. I wasn't sure. And because I think these opportunities got to me a little bit faster, I'm thinking, let me try this life for me.
Yeah.
And I built my own life. Like I've built my own business and I think it's great. But I'm like, after a certain point, I'm like, I just don't know if it's 100% me. Like I want to get dirty. Like I want to go like gunsling a little bit. I want to be around a platoon of guys who are like maybe talking mess and like, just having fun. Like I don't like, I've been kind of like more neat and like I've had my own business, and a lot of it also is me. Like that's also the other thing is that I felt like I was dying a slow death just because for me personally, and this is me taking 100% responsibility in the way that I crafted my life. But for me and the way that I ran my business, I felt like it was kind of a lonely venture. Some people like that. But I would actually be willing to be part of an organization and lessen myself so I'm not the number one. Like I don't care to do that. Right. I'd rather be around a team. I'm a great support system. I'm actually more of a supporter than I am a leader. And and that self-awareness eventually has to kick in at some points as somebody's life, right?
It doesn't for everybody. There's still some people out there that need to have that kick in.
Yeah. So actually, you know what? Can I? Would you mind if I like kind of detoured a little bit into like what expedited my military path?
Please let me be clear on one thing, love. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about on our podcast, okay?
Sure.
You are safe.
Yeah.
This is a safe space. Have at it.
Oh man, I feel so safe.
We did it. Okay.
So I'm not sure because me and Robert were just talking about this before this. We had started this, but should I mention names or like would you just block it out?
Oh my gosh, let's have another conversation.
Yeah.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
If you don't want it on there, don't do it.
I mean, I wouldn't care. Okay, so coming out here, so I moved out here in September, like literally like a few months ago.
Okay.
And so I had a couple opportunities, but then for some odd reason, I just wanted to try my luck and see if I can get like some employment because again, I liked running my own thing, but I'm like, I want to see what it's like to just be part of something.
Okay.
You know, like that was just my natural go-to. And so there was a prominent figure out here. So it was Alex Ramosi, and I had realized that as I was going on LinkedIn, I had typed in like just creative media jobs or whatever. And like his company was the first to pop up, acquisition.com. And I was like, there's no way like that. He's like super famous. First of all, they have like media going all the time. Like there's no way this is hiring. This has got to be fake. This has got to be like a job post from India or something like that. So like, there's just no way this is real. Cause like they're set, like it doesn't make sense. And I just moved to Vegas. What are the chances of the stars aligning? So I go through the whole process and come to find out like they are and went through 4 rounds of hiring or interviews. And it was just, it was like a dream come true. Like if I ever got a job for what it is that I do, I'm working for like the people that everybody's trying to be like. Like I'm working for like the apex like entrepreneur of today's time. And it was just so cool. For the first time in my creative like media venture, I actually felt happy.
Okay.
Like not just like excited, like I was just happy because I got to be around other people. Not only am I working for a very, very well-known person, and they took really good care of us, and they had a great company. I was working around other people that were like me. They were actually searching for ex-agency owners in their employment. So I was around other people that were just like me. So we were talking business, creative strategy. We were talking about all different types of things. And I felt like I was around like this is going to sound so dumb, but like wolf pack, you know, it's I felt like I was running with other people.
Yeah.
I am not the kind of guy that's just okay running his own thing. Like I'm not that kind of guy. That's not how I'm wired. I'm very community oriented. But unfortunately, and I still don't know to this day, they had let me go, I think 3 or 4 weeks after I had gotten hired. So, and apparently that wasn't uncommon because, you know, they churned some talent, I guess. Cause right as soon as I got hired, like 3 or 4 other people in the media department had left. So I was like, okay, that's fine. Like maybe they're just, you know, figuring things out, restructuring the company. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But I was like, I had a dream set up for me. And I feel like it got ripped away. And I didn't like that.
Okay.
Because imagine going from self-employment over the past decade, and then you finally are willing to give yourself to something, and like you have it all. Like I was like, even my wife knew. Like I was excited, and they paid incredibly well, and they just ripped it from me, and I just didn't like that. And over the course of my career, I'm known as like a servant leader. Like I love serving people, and I serve them to the best of my capabilities. I have testimonies through the roof, and I'm thinking, over the past decade, I've helped other people build their thing. And I said, I never really knew what I was building for myself.
Okay.
And so after that painful experience, I was like, I think it's time for me to commit to something for me.
Okay.
And after I got fired, to that point, I was like, screw it. I'm going to that recruiter. I'm signing a contract
Mm-hmm.
and I'm getting the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Not because like I need to escape anything, but because again, when I see the military, I'm thinking that's something that might actually be for me.
Mm-hmm.
I want a sense of adventure. I might want like a sense of danger too. I want camaraderie. I want to be part of something. I want to support something and someone. You know, I want to know how I can use all my talents and bring it to now supporting and protecting the country. Like I don't know what other honor I can find that's higher than that, for me at least. And so to know that I go from self-employment, I have all this. And I make this very clear to everyone, is that this isn't like a last option for me. This wasn't like I ran out of options. I'm running out of money. Like it wasn't that. Like typically that's the archetype of the person that's typically joining sometimes, where they just don't know, so they go to the military, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I wanted something different, and I know that there's going to be a lot of benefits.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of support that I've gotten from this venture, not only from strangers to friends of friends to family, has been like absolutely insane. It was cool because, and this is probably the best part. So the community, I feel like, is just really cool because I go to Starbucks. I'm doing my run throughout the city. I stop at a Starbucks, and then there was a gentleman that was sitting right across from me. He was wearing a Navy hat. He was like 80 years old, and so we got done talking, I got to conversating with him, and he was just so open about his journey. And like, I'm a very chatty Cathy, so if you give me an inch, I'm going to take it a mile.
Right.
So
we ended
up
call him Chatty Cathy.
My name is Cathy. Actually.
There we go.
No, so, but that's cool though, because now I get to relate to people that are in the service, and like I get to have all these very comprehensive conversations about their journey. I was going to the cigar, one of my favorite cigar spots, and a guy had noticed that I was in Army attire, and me and him ended up connecting. He told me his route. He's telling me what I should do throughout my journey, what I should look for. And like, again, these are guys who signed up in like the 50s, 60s, 70s. So like, I'm sure things are wildly different now.
Oh, yes, they are, my friend. Yes, they are. Yeah.
But to have that camaraderie and like community, to know that like I can talk to these people and they're and no one stiff armed me yet, right? Like they're giving me support every time I see them. They're like, hey, how's it going? When do you ship out? Whatever. So I'm probably like the happiest I think I've ever been in a long time.
That's awesome. And I will say the military community is phenomenal. I say this all the time. It doesn't matter where I go. I didn't serve, but when someone finds out my father did, I have instant family. Doesn't matter the branch, doesn't matter the group, doesn't matter the way they embrace us. We unite. When Robert and I met, we found out both our fathers served in the Navy. There was just it's just the way the community works. And it's one of my favorite parts of it. And your wife will get phenomenal support too. Military spouses are amazing. And whether it is the service member is enlisted or going for the officer program, doesn't matter. You know, you serve together. Yeah. It's a united front. And it takes a lot to say, I'm willing to step up and serve. My favorite posts online is when people get negative or talk ill of the military, and a military person will say it's amazing how much people can talk about the military, yet they're not willing to raise their hand and take the vow. Because it's a lot. I didn't raise my hand and take the vow. Yeah. But it is such a unique world. It is such for me, what I found in the military community was very positive. Yeah. Very encouraging. Some of my happiest memories are when my dad was in the Navy of my life. So it to me, there's a very positive twist to it. Now, it is scary. It is dangerous. You are joining. You're joining infantry,
and I chose to join at like
joining
the
in a
best
time of conflict. Yeah, you knew where I was going there. Which we've had a couple of guests who have been on our show that did. They joined, and then life happened, and you're in it. Yeah. It is something big that happens and you take on. Yeah. It's different now. I will tell you some of the changes. When my father would go out to sea. Yeah. We were in Guam and he was on the USS Proteus. Yeah. And he would go out to sea 3 months at a time. Now, we were only there for 2 years. It was always like around summerish time, I think, was when he went. And when Dad went out to sea, you didn't talk to him. You could write letters. They wouldn't always get to him in a timely manner.
Mm-hmm.
But once in the middle of his time at sea, he would get to do a phone call back to us. And it was a horrible phone call. Like, it's static. But then it made it worse because then you missed him more because you heard his voice and you knew you didn't get to see him for another month and a half. Yeah. Fast forward to now where people can actually, we had Brian Jensen on our show. He was talking about when he would be overseas and he'd be able to video time, FaceTime with his fiance, wife, whatever segue they were in the relationship. But you could actually communicate with that person more so than you used to. And I often wonder, is that a blessing or a curse? Sometimes is it cooler? Does it make you miss you more? Because it always made me miss my dad more when I heard his voice. And then he wasn't there the next day. But in the same token, we have that broader communication now. And we have that more information now that we can do it. Yeah. So people can actually get educated and ask questions, that we didn't get to do like that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating to me.
No, it is super fascinating because I throughout this entire venture, I've definitely leaned into the most grateful and like gratitude oriented heart possible, because I'm like, first of all, like I'm joining in. I feel like any generation than the previous one, I think arguably has a better advantage. I think whether it be like in greater communications, better structure, better. I don't know. Like even now, right? When we're talking about like the field that I'm going into, right? Just think about like the artillery support and just overall chain of things that we have. Like sometimes you don't even need soldiers to go in. Like we might need to do like reconnaissance of some sort, or like maybe do like these smaller missions. But like now we have drones. Like I mean, like I think I don't know. But we could be like limiting a lot of soldier casualties by like a huge margin just because of advanced technology. There's that company, Anduril out in Costa Mesa, who's like been like the leading, I think, defense company for the U.S. that's like coming close now to like the likes of Boeing, Raytheon, and just because of the innovative tech that they're making. And so I don't know. I think that there's going to be great advantages of me joining just because there are a lot of newer things that are happening. And, but again, I don't know what'll happen because I feel like the US is living every 24 hours at a time. And there's like always something new right around the corner. So again, this thing with Iran is that I don't think anybody was anticipating this, but it's like, I even told my wife, I was like, regardless of what happens, I want you to know that I'm going to do the best damn job that I can. And we both know what we're signing up for,
Yeah. Let me help put a little twist on that.
Yeah.
My father did 2 tours in Vietnam.
Damn.
He joined the Navy. He went for a year. He came back. His brother had set him up a bunch of dates.
Yeah.
He met my mom. He canceled every other date. On their 3rd date, he asked her to marry him. They were going to get married before he went back for another year. My grandfather, my mother's dad, said, do me a favor, give him something to come home for. And so they didn't get married. My dad went and served another year in Vietnam.
Whoa.
And my father will tell you, I knew the risk.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to die. And he didn't. And when I was younger, I knew that my dad could potentially die in his job doing what he believed in.
Yeah.
But I knew he wouldn't. And I think that mindset is key. And I think we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if we listen, we train, we understand, we follow what we're supposed to do, at the end of the day, the honor of the service is there.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart when something happens to a service member. This week destroyed me with everything going on. Everybody has said to me with this week, oh my gosh, the world constantly changed. This is happening, that's happening. It's because of the information age we're in and we have access to it. When I was a kid, you just knew everything could change like that.
Okay.
That was the world we were in. It was the military world.
Right.
They were going to handle it. If something happened, we needed to deal with it. We were on our edge. There were certain things that were, my sister and I were allowed and not allowed to watch certain things on TV just because my parents were trying to make sure, but they were staying aware of what was happening and where we're going.
Yeah, of course.
Your perspective, your point of view will change with your military service.
I figured.
And it's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
I feel it's a good thing. I have a perspective my husband doesn't have. His dad did go to Vietnam, but he was drafted. He did his service. He got out. He didn't live the military life that I lived. I have a completely different perspective on the events that happen in the world and the way they go down.
Yeah.
And that's just because of the way I was raised. So
that's nice.
I think that I think you're an amazing human being for trusting that a passion and a purpose that you could have could be something like this, because I don't think people quantify military service as something as that, and unless it's like an officer. But that's not true. Yeah. And you can find value and you can find purpose and you can have an amazing career, and it can help you. Some people do the 4 years, get out, and it just gives them what they needed to be able to pursue that career, that business they wanted. Right. There's always going to be weird crap going on, people, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Humans are kind of messed up. We just are. So there's always going to be something that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I have faith in our military.
Yeah, so do I. A great amount of faith.
And in those who serve. And I am so proud of you that I can't even put it into words. So
thank you.
Stay strong. Stay positive, stay focused, because you got it, kid.
Yeah.
You got this.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome.
Could I, do you mind if I put like one note in here?
You put whatever note you need to put, baby doll.
Is that, so some of the love that I've gotten was through the content that I've shared. And that was, my reasons, again, off camera prior to this, is that I made it clear that, this whole route that I wanted to go down, specifically special operations, hopefully if, Lord willing, it happens. That was never the goal to be some self-aggrandizing venture at all. It wasn't just so I can get this itch of being a badass or whatever. I have no concern for that.
But he a little bit wants to be a badass.
I mean, sure, maybe, yeah. Get a couple tabs on the sleeve.
Totally wants to be
Kathy. So I know that I'm a real big person when it comes to just impact and the relationships that I facilitate. And some of the core reasons was to be a servant leader to those who may need me the most, and showing the love and leadership of Christ. Wait, should we pause right now?
You're good.
Yeah. Okay. And that matters to me a lot, because if it's one thing that I identify with most is my faith, because it's comprised of who I am and a lot of what I do on a practical note. Right. And then, obviously it was to make my mom and wife proud, to gain the most elite training in the world when it comes to tactical combat and weapon skills, because again, I think that at the heart of every man is a sense of protection and provision. So as a man, I think honestly, as a nation, this could be totally my opinion, and I can probably get a lot of shit for it, but I know for a fact that we'd probably be a stronger nation if we had a little bit of mandatory service. I think so, in my opinion. I think every man needs to not only get a sense of adventure and danger in his life, just from a man's perspective, but also from a militarily perspective, having a nation's pride behind you, I think is definitely pumps into the ethos of the nation. So that's just my opinion. And then 2 was to understand what it is that I'm truly made of, and being completely fearless. And if you ever run your own business, that's scary enough.
It is scary.
Right?
Scary. Yeah.
So if you're used to having that pain tolerance just in life, you think there's a lot that probably just doesn't faze you, right? Just because that's a lot. And especially when you're married and you have 2 risk takers, that's really scary sometimes, And so, but when I went through this venture, I said, sometimes I feel like I'm running away from something, and I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
I want to know how to be completely unstoppable. And I know for a fact that when I make this contractual obligation, lest I go to jail, like there's nothing else that I could run away from. Like they have me now. And I now have to face my fears, whatever that might be. And so when I'm going through this process of going to the military, like none of it had to do with any of the pay, the benefits. It was solely just a me versus me game.
Yeah.
And that's what mattered to me most. Because I don't know how many people go through that mindset. But I knew for a fact, oh wait, should we wait?
You're good.
Okay. I knew for a fact that if I already achieved a sense of excellence in my business, I sure as hell want to achieve it in the military, which means I'm not trying to go there for any other reason, but trying to be the best at what I do. So for me, that was Rangers. Like that's what I want to shoot for. Cause I already know what it's like to build my own business and like do it well. Now I want to carry that same attitude and I want to go do something well within the military. I want to be a great leader. I want to be a great shooter. I want to be a good, whatever it might be, wherever the Lord leads my steps, which also ties into this verse that I've been meditating a lot on, which was in Proverbs. It says, Proverbs 16, it says, I may roll the dice, but the Lord determines how they fall. And for me, from a philosophical and mental perspective, that means a lot because you're really understanding the balance between human agency and divine providence, which basically dictates that I can do what I do and I can do it well. But ultimately, the Lord has the final say as to how that happens and when it happens. So no matter what, I'm just going to assume that it's part of the plan. And that's okay.
Absolutely. And please let me clarify. No matter the reasoning you're choosing to consider serving in the military, there's no right or wrong.
Right.
Okay. You will, if you are in there and you have the right mindset and you excel in it, great. And you will do amazing things. Some people don't, and that's okay. Sometimes you got to test the water and try to see where it is, but maybe you'll gain a skill or something to be able to use later in life. You have to trust your purpose and the path that you're on.
Yeah.
It varies from person to person, the reasoning behind that. But at the end of the day, whether it is a spiritual reasoning for you, a psychological reasoning, whatever, you have to trust the path you're on. And if you're not trusting the path you're on and you have questions, ask.
Yeah.
Ask those questions, okay? You're not a bad person for asking. So I think that is key for us to go into. I appreciate so much you coming on. I think that this was such a very insightful and different conversation than we've had on here.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you coming in here and letting us have it. And Molly, you're next. Because we always interview the spouse because we like to have that partnership in there. It's a great thing to see the dynamic. And I'd love her perspective coming from this. We just had Zach and Andy singer on where Zach's established in his career and Andy and him ended up getting together and she had never experienced the military life quite like that. So, brand new military spouse. For them. And so it was great to have that different. So would love to have her on to join us. I want to thank you for your service. I want to thank you for being so open with us and talking about this and know that we are thinking of you. We are proud of you and we can't wait to see the amazing things that you're going to do in your service to our country. So thank you very much for that, my friend.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
It means a lot.
All right, guys, you know what time it is. You're going to like, share, follow. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Oh, I can't believe I did TikTok. Oh, we're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're everywhere. Please follow us. Homefront Harmony Pod. Find us, follow us, share those reels. Let's get the world out. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Painted photographs covered now with lines and creases, tickets torn in half.